Good morning again, guys. Okay, so the plot thickens. This gets a little interesting. Last night on the live stream, one of y'all asked me about a comment that was made from a retired Air Force general. And so I thought, I'm going to go look this up and see what's going on because it's something I had heard about. Okay, apparently, this is, like I said, retired Air Force Major General David Stuckenberg, and he was talking about this balloon that was flying over. Okay, his quote: China's recent balloon flyover of the United States is clearly a provocative and aggressive act. It was most likely a type of dry run meant to send a strategic message to the United States. We must not take this for granted. Just so you wonder who he is, he was the Defense Department's EMT task force commander. Yeah, okay. So if he's saying something like this, that's concerning. Could he be right? Yeah. Could he be wrong? Yeah. So I went to do some digging, and I found something that is rather concerning. Not about the balloon, but about China overall. Okay. And I'm going to link this below, and I will tell you this: the website is in Chinese because it is the National People's Congress of the People's Republic of China website. This is an official Chinese government website. So go up top to the little translate thing, and it looks like a couple of arrows or whatever it is there in your address bar, and you'll be able to translate it to English. I want to read to you what this says here real quick. All right. Well, first, I take it back. First off, I want to explain something. Does anybody know what de jour means? Not like soup du jour, D-U space J-O-U-R, but de jour, D-E space J-U-R-E. It is about draft, the draft, about conscription to military service. Okay. The United States is a de jour system. Obviously, you guys know the last time we used the draft was during the Vietnam War. Okay. China is also a de jure system. However, China has never implemented the draft. It is on the books that they can, but they've never done it until now. This is where it gets very scary. China just passed their, what they call the Reserve Military Service Law, which will take effect on March 1st. 3 weeks from now, guys. Okay. This is what it says. Anyone who is 18 years or older is obliged to enlist after a national defense mobilization is announced. I read into this. Like I said, you can translate. It's anyone, including women. The only exceptions are if you are pregnant or you are nursing. Okay? So yes, male and female. Draft. Conscription time, 4 years. Okay? If you are enlisted, you can put in for retirement at age 30. If you are conscripted as an officer, you're obligated till you're 60. Think about that. Okay? This is what it says. After receiving the call-up notices, reservists must report to the designated place at the specified time in accordance with the requirements. After the state issued the mobilization order, the reserve personnel who have not received the call-up notice shall not leave the reserve registration place without approval. If they have left, they shall return immediately or stand by in the same place. Now, what does that mean? That means they're ready to do something. Because if you register, you're called up, you go to training, right? Done. End of story. You're going to start your basic training, whatever it would be. If you aren't immediately called up, you aren't allowed to go back home. You stay in a staging area. For those of us that served, think of the reception station when you went to basic. Okay, you stay there until it's your turn to be cycled into basic training. Okay, why is this important? Oh, do you think that China might be accelerating their plans to go into Taiwan. Oh, I'd say that's pretty good. Are we going to get involved? Gee, I don't know. Now let's look at how involved we already are in Russia, Ukraine. Now let's get involved in China, Taiwan. This is what people don't understand. If something happens between China and Taiwan, and again, this goes back to something we've talked about here in the past as well. Oh, if they nuke Washington, D.C., no big deal. I live in Omaha, Nebraska. I talked about that last night on the live stream. If we all of a sudden get in any sort of conflict, police action, special military operation, war with China, guess what happens? The supply chain from China gets completely cut off. That means there ain't no stuff in Walmart, nothing like that, okay? That probably also means there's no semiconductors coming from Taiwan. I've told you guys before, Taiwan makes 90% of the semiconductors in the world, okay? You think that's not going to be the first thing that's going to be targeted for bombing by China? Yeah, that'd be pretty much it. They'll destroy that instantly because they know at that point they can shut down the rest of the world's capabilities to retaliate. No way to rebuild stuff, no way to start a car, run a tank, guide a missile, whatever it would be. But think about what else it means. Where do most of the drugs come from? 95% of things like ibuprofen come from China. More than 40% of your antibiotics, penicillin, amoxicillin, that sort of stuff, comes from China. Where's the rest of it come from? Primarily India. How long do you think it's going to take India to be involved? Because India ain't exactly a real good friend of China, in case you don't know. This is how close we are. This is the precipice we are at. And if China is, for all intents and purposes, implementing the draft for all people, men and women, in 3 weeks, then you add in all the talk about the Russia spring offensive. This could be very interesting times here in the next, 12 weeks. How prepared are you? Do you have everything that you could possibly need in regards to supplies? Because most of the stuff we get is from China. How well prepared are you in regards to having the medicines you need? Let's think about that for a second, okay? Let's say there is an EMP or a grid attack or just China shuts down the supply chain. You know, people talk, oh, gee, how long it'll take till the people die off, right? Let's start thinking about that. You're diabetic. You can't get your insulin. You're a heart patient. You can't get your nitroglycerin. I mean, you have an infection. You can't get penicillin. How fast does it? I mean, pick a medicine. Your high blood pressure medicine, your cholesterol medicine. I mean, the simple ones that 2/3 of this country's on as is anyway. You can't get it. Do you have what you need to make it till tomorrow? If you don't, do you know what alternatives you can use? Okay, sure, everybody says, well, yeah, you get your blood pressure down by eating a good diet and exercising. Very true, okay? It ain't happening by tomorrow, all right? You're not going to go, honey, I'm going out for a 2-mile run, and poof, my blood pressure's down to normal range, or my cholesterol's down to normal range. Honey, I'm just going to stop eating sugar altogether. Guess what? My diabetes is gone. I'm going to lose a couple of pounds. I'm healthy again. It doesn't work that way. Okay? These are the things that you need to prep now. Getting yourself off those medicines is a great idea, but you still need to have them until you can get off those medicines. Whatever else you need. I mean, I've said this on previous videos. Go through your house, and if you look at everything that you have that's made in China, Try to work without that for a day. Okay? If you do that, well, you ain't watching me tomorrow. Okay? Because chances are, if you got an Apple phone, it's made in China. If you've got a computer, it's made in China. At least semiconductors are made in Taiwan. You can look at your light bulbs, made in China. Hell, crap, you can look at some of the food in your pantry is made in China. Okay? People don't realize how dependent we are on Chinese crap. And the Chinese have no qualms whatsoever with taking it all away in a heartbeat. Drafting 2 billion people. I mean, literally anybody 18 years or older, guys. Okay? Think about that. Let's say that's only 80% of the population. Let's say 20% of their population is kids. That's 1.6 billion people all of a sudden are of draft age. Because there's no cap on this. There's no, gee, you're 50. They're mobilizing the entire country. You don't do that unless you plan on going to war. Pinball out.